What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about how I apply a conjugate mindset to bodybuilding. Now, I got my notebook here today because there's a lot of stuff I don't want to forget, and there's a lot of stuff we got to go over. But to start off with, what is conjugate? Well, at the heart of it, conjugate is a system of training that seeks to minimize joint fatigue and overuse by rotating variations of a main movement. I know that's a mouthful, but it's a lot easier to understand if I give you an example. So in the context of increasing your 1 rep max strength on the low bar back squat, for example, if you're running a linear program, you might come in week after week and do the same movement, the low bar back squat. Conjugate, you're going to rotate variations. Week 1, you might do a low bar back squat. Week 2, it's a squat to pins. Then you'll do a box squat. Then you add bands, whatever. The options are endless. It does get a little bit more complex than that, but at the heart of it, linear, you're doing the same thing. Conjugate, you're rotating. Now, in my mind, the main benefit of conjugate, besides getting you generally strong, is that it minimizes the overuse issues you can get from doing the same movement. So a low bar back squat has one particular strength curve. And if you're coming in and doing that same movement over and over, then the wear and tear on the joints is going to be exactly the same. But with conjugate, if you're rotating variations, well, a low bar back squat has a different strength curve than a low bar back squat with a blue band. It also has a different strength curve than a low bar back squat with a red band, different strength curve than a Berserker squat. You get the idea. By doing that, you're minimizing the overuse. You're going to stay healthier for longer, and it's going to help you get more generally strong. And conjugate does also focus heavily on improving weak points in your movements, which I do that also, but for the sake of this video, just think mostly in terms of linear, you're doing the same thing over and over. Conjugate, you're rotating. So, a couple months ago, I made a video that was called How to Get a 1 Rep Max PR Every Week. And in that video, I'm just going to give a brief overview, but I'll link it below if you want to see it. I talked about what I called a block of strength. Now, I'm not talking about a strength block in terms of periodization. I'm talking about a block because it literally looks like a block. So, if we're talking the low bar back squat, because I like the low bar back squat, and we're still talking in terms of 1 rep maxes, well, at the top of that, I have a low bar back squat. That's my heaviest movement. I'm going to put my PR for my 1 rep max next to it. Then all the way down in descending order, I'm going to have the other 30 or however many variations that I have. I'm going to put my max attempt next to that. And then one day I'm going to come in, I'm going to get a 10-pound PR on my low bar back squat. Now, because at the top of that block shape, I got a 10-pound PR, you can assume that every single other lift has a 10-pound PR. Now, that's a little bit simplified, but it was a way to take the stress out of going for a 1 rep max. And that's the basics of it. In that video, I called it intuitive linear conjugate. That was supposed to be a little bit funny, but it's actually kind of true. It's intuitive because every day I come in and I just do what I feel like doing. As long as you're straining, you're going to make progress. So if I feel like doing a Berserker squat, I'm going to do that. If I feel like doing a low bar back squat to pins with a heavy band tension, I'm going to do that. I just try not to do the same variation too often. So that's intuitive. It's linear because it might not seem like it, but this block of strength is linearly moving forward. It's slow, yes, but it's moving forward. And slow progress is always better than no progress. Trust me, I've been there. I've tried to make fast progress. I've tried to do it all at once, and it led to no progress. Slow, consistent gains in strength and muscle are always better in the long run. So that's the linear, and it's conjugate because I'm rotating variations. So this is also somewhat similar to how guys did it in the old school days, at least how some guys did it. I've read examples of how some guys might come in, say they got a 315 on a low bar back squat for 5, and that was difficult. They might continue to do 315 for 5 for a couple weeks until it felt easier. Then they add weight. That was just a different way of improving, and this is somewhat like that because you could say that if at the top of that block I made a 10-pound PR, then every other 10-pound PR within that block that is getting you to that same level of strength is kind of staying in the same place, but you're also getting a PR, so you feel like you're doing something. So that was just a cool connection I made. All right, so now that I got that intro out of the way, how do we apply a conjugate mindset to bodybuilding? I've been talking about strength this whole time, right? We're supposed to be talking about bodybuilding and building muscle. Well, I'm going to show you why it's basically the same thing. Let me give you an example of a skeleton day here, right, on a program, okay? So we got Monday, horizontal pull, horizontal push, bicep, tricep, shoulder, forearm, abs, neck, right? This is just an example. What you'll notice is I didn't write this. Monday, barbell row, barbell bench press, barbell curl. barbell tricep extension, and so on. I didn't write a list of exercises for Monday and assume that every Monday I come in on that program, I'm going to be doing the same thing and trying to get better at that. I'm not saying that's bad, but that's a cookie cutter program. That's not how you apply conjugate to bodybuilding. That's not what I do. What I do is I write slots on that skeleton program based on fundamental human movement patterns, horizontal pull, horizontal push, etc., right? So go back to that strength block that I was talking about for the back squat, right? Low bar back squat, I got a block with a bunch of different exercises in it, okay? Well, guess what? I got the same thing for every single other fundamental human movement pattern. So if I see horizontal pull on my program, well, I'm gonna go to my list and I got a bunch of horizontal pulls on there. And on that list for every exercise is what weight I used last time, how many reps I got. All I gotta do is I gotta choose something from that list and make sure that I either use the same weight and get at least one more rep, or I increase the weight and go for new reps. That's it. One rep. Slow progress, but it's still consistent. Like I said, slow, consistent progress is better than no progress, right? And same thing for the horizontal push. I got a bunch of different bench press things I can do, like I can press with a Swiss bar, with the barbell, different grips, axle bar. I got push-ups with a weight vest, everything. And so for those fundamental patterns, I like to write in terms of movement patterns. But when it comes to smaller muscles, you'll notice I wrote biceps, triceps, shoulders, forearms. I think it's easier to write in terms of muscles there because you're not always doing the same pattern, right? So biceps, usually you're going to be doing a curl. I got a bunch of different curls on that list, right? But for triceps, you can do push downs, you got overhead tricep extensions, you got JM presses, you got all kinds of things. So I wouldn't just write, extension, because then I'd be excluding a lot of things. So I write triceps. Well, I come in, I'm going to do triceps today. All right. What haven't I done for a while? Well, I haven't done a JM press on the floor with a medium grip. Okay, I'm going to come in and I'm going to try to beat my last record. That's all there is to it. That's how you apply a conjugate mindset to bodybuilding. It's simple, really. And then in terms of how long you do these things, what I've noticed is you can keep these movements in for longer. So when you're going for a 1 rep max, like I talked about earlier with that strength block for the 1 rep max on the low bar back squat, right? You gotta rotate that every single week because it's heavy. It's a 1 rep max. But for this other stuff, you don't gotta rotate it as often. So for a horizontal push or pull or a vertical push or pull, the sweet spot I found is that you can usually keep that stuff in for 3 to 5 weeks. So I might decide I'm gonna do straight up barbell row for the next 5 weeks because I keep making progress on it. And then after that, I'll go to something else, or I'll change every week. It's whatever I feel like doing, That's the beauty of this. It's intuitive. It's making your training fun. It's you're allowed to just do something different every single workout, but you're still making linear progress because you have that list and you're making sure that you're going forward. You're not doing like what some people do when they go in the gym. They're like, yeah, today I'll do the barbell machine or the curl machine, and then I'll, next time I'll do some dumbbell curls, but they never actually track anything. You're tracking this, and though it is slow, right? This block is very slowly inching forward. It is linear progress, and that's how you build muscle, right? Okay, so slower but consistent, right? And for the smaller muscles, I found you can keep them in for even longer. Like for a curl, I could probably do that for a month and be fine. Whereas a row, 3 to 5 weeks probably max. That's just my experience. You'll have to test that out for yourself. But that's conjugate in bodybuilding. So just another point, a curl is a curl, right? So you might say like, how are you going to consistently making progress on a barbell curl if you only do it twice every 2 months, Well, you could say that the carryover from an axle curl is still relatively the same to a barbell curl, right? So if you're getting stronger in one, you can assume that you're getting stronger elsewhere. That's just kind of how it works. And we are talking muscles here, not strength. Carryover is kind of a strength thing, right? If we're talking bodybuilding, we want carryover from the muscle or from the exercise to be to the muscles. How does this exercise carry over to building me muscle? I don't know why you would say that. That's just someone talking about bodybuilding from the strength world, I guess. But that's it. So a row is a row, a curl is a curl. Now, all of that said, I want to take this one step further and just give you something to think about. I've already explained what this video is about. That's how you apply a conjugate mindset to bodybuilding. The rest of this is just for fun because I think it's cool, right? And that's the whole point. This stuff's cool, right? So, okay. So if you've watched my videos recently, you'll know I've been doing these calisthenic circuits, right? I might pick 5 exercises, say a wide grip pull-up, a towel pull-up, a dive bomber push-up, a pike push-up, and an ab wheel. That's one circuit. Now, if I count that as one thing, I might have 6 to 10 other circuits that I can rotate through, right? Those circuits might contain the same exercises, okay? 3 of those circuits might have wide grip pull-ups, but because they're part of a different circuit, you could say that they're a different thing. You could count them as a different exercise. And like I said, this is all theory here, right? But imagine this. If you came in and you did a wide grip pull-up, that's going to have, and you're fresh, completely fresh, you did a wide grip pull-up. That's going to have a certain type of joint fatigue because of the muscles that are working. The prime movers are going to be doing most of the work, okay? Well, what if you came in and you did a towel pull-up and then you did a wide grip pull-up? Could you say that because you pre-fatigued some of the muscles, that because other muscles are going to be taking over, the joint strain, the joint use could be slightly different? That's theory. I don't know, but it's kind of cool to think about, right? Pre-fatigue could cause a wide grip pull-up to count as different things. A wide grip pull-up could be different in terms of conjugate training than a wide grip pull-up done after a towel pull-up. Not just something to think about. To take it a little bit further, you could even say that different rep schemes count as a different thing. So on your list of curls, for example, you could have barbell curl in the rep range of 8 to 12. You could also have barbell curl in the rep range of 10 sets of 3, though I don't know why you would do that for curls really, but you could. And you could say that because it's a different percentage, that could count as a different exercise. And if you think in that way, your block, or whatever you want to call it, of exercises that you have for every different movement pattern could get up to like 100 exercises. Now, that might be a little bit too slow. I might not recommend doing that. It just shows you how customizable this is. And finally, to take it one step further, we could talk about tempo and how that could change an exercise, right? So would you say that a cheat curl is a different exercise than a strict curl? Same hand placement, same implement. You could say those are different movements, right? Well, if that's the case, then you could say that a curl done with a tempo of 1, 1, 1, 1, right? 1, 1, 1, 1 could be different than a tempo of 1, 1, 4 all the way down, and then 1. You could say that's a different exercise. You could customize your list even further. So say you only have one barbell. You just have a barbell, but you could have like barbell curl with a medium grip, right? You could have that for sets of 8 to 12. You could have that same exercise for sets of 5. You could have each of those customized with different tempos, and your list, you could get a list of like 30 different exercises with just one barbell, with different placements of the hands and whatever. So just showing how customizable it is. It's kind of cool. So that's really all I got for you. Hopefully this inspires you or helps you out in some way. I like thinking this way for training. I think it makes it fun while also allowing you to continue making progress. And that's the whole point, right? So check in with you guys next time.